Hello, everyone. Welcome to the episode of The Beauty of Grey. Hello, Michelle.
Hello.
Hello, Jake.
Hello, everybody.
Jake has a fancy fan because it's about 1,000 degrees and we're melting.
So warm.
Jake.
just a light glisten.
Just a light glisten.
It is our beauty glow. It's the glamour magic that they've been, doing a lot, and they're, getting this beautiful glisten.
Is it sweat? Is it magic? No one will ever know.
It's magic. So on today's show, we wanted to talk about divination because Michelle teaches classes at Reiki Rocks, and she has two classes upcoming. And one of them is divination, and the other one is Witchcraft 101. And Michelle, we want to talk about divination on this episode, and in our next one, we're going to talk about Witchcraft 101. So divination, first things first, what is divination for me is, a lot of different terms, but let's talk to us about it.
So basically, divination for the most part, there's using different tools in order to gain some knowledge of an outcome, be able to talk to spirit. There is some from future stuff and everything that with people that consider themselves to be psychics and stuff like that. Divination covers a lot of different areas, like the amount of tools and concepts that are used in divination are almost endless, because there's so many different cultures and there's so many different things that people use. That the other day, I was researching dust divination and using dust in order to get to find out a certain
I'm looking
outcome.
at my floor.
I know. I'm just like,
I'm like, what valuable insights do you have, Dust? Tell me all.
Oh, sorry, my series it was like,
good
hello.
Lord.
See?
If my dust bunnies could talk, they'd scream.
So it's really like the practice of seeking knowledge of the future of the unknown by different means. Now, with your divination class, it's a 10-week course. Sorry,
it's a 10-week course.
And every week you focus on a different tool of divination, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, correct.
So let's tell us, what is your number one tool for divination?
For me in particular, my number one tool are tarot cards.
Nice.
That is something that I use on a regular basis. I would say my second and my third most used that I don't promote professionally. I promote the tarot more professionally than anything. But I use runes and then bones for readings.
Jake is a bone reader also.
Really?
Oh my God, I am so glad
I should have known that. That makes me so happy.
I have to grab my bones.
Get your bones. All right, tell us more, Michelle.
Okay, so basically there's the other different types of divination that I typically use. So with the runes, it's Elder Futhark runes, the whole Nordic, that type of stuff. I use it I do a lot of scrying, so a lot of smoke scrying, fire scrying, black mirror scrying. There's a whole slew. So you can use the black mirror.
For anyone that's not familiar, what is scrying?
So scrying is basically you're looking into an element of some sort. So for instance, smoke scrying, you're watching the smoke from, say, incense, and you're looking for patterns. You're looking for pictures. You're looking for, it's really whatever works for you, in terms of when it comes to the I can never remember them, that being clairvoyant and all that type of stuff, the different clairs.
Your different clairs.
Yes. So whatever that happens to be, that is, you're focusing on a certain element and being able to receive messages from that element.
Gotcha.
So it's so with, I was saying with smoke, you're looking at different patterns, you're looking at pictures, you might be seeing runes in the smoke. And there's different other, there's other things too, not just with the Elder Futhark runes, there's other, there's witch runes, there's I don't remember the name of it right now, but there's the Celtic, they're these long sticks that have different I can't remember it starts with a B, I believe. And but they're also they're used I guess the same kind of concept, all of that across the board. It's some of the different I'm jumping off of it with the scrying, but like it's whatever you feel most comfortable with. But then also what works best for, like, at least for me, what I find what works best for either the client or what you're trying to find out.
So let's talk about bone readings, because both of you do bone readings, and Jake's got his bones there. So Jake, tell us a little bit about bone readings.
Oh my God, yeah. So bone readings are probably arguably one of the oldest versions of divination, right? So
Yes.
practice
Yes.
along every single culture, every anthropological resource that you can look down, you'll find it on every continent, every country, every religious background. It's so cool. So what kind of drew me to the bones was, it kind of seemed like it came very organically, working with spirit. A lot of the witchcraft that I do is spirit work. And so it really only felt natural to work with, organic materials, the bones of animals that I passed on. That kind of death witch vibe that's just so gorgeous. But I really love the bones because it's fun, because being somebody who does divination professionally, it's like the different flavors that it gives you. Like tarot readings I love so much for if I want a really quick answer for myself, or even in a professional session with somebody. But I might grab for the runes if I was reading for somebody like Rachel or Michelle, who maybe we're looking into some big spiritual topics. We're asking some big life questions or something like that, or trying to get to the bottom of something as far as spell work or a karmic thing. Bones just speak with your ancestors. They speak with the earth, and I just find that so they're such old teachers. Is kind of how I explain it. So it's the same way a lot of people have that kind of kindred relationship with like trees. Because they've been here for so long. That's the same way that I feel about the bones. I just think it's so fascinating. You never have the same reading. It's so, and much like runes too, like the Elder Futhark runes there, I have had such mind-blowing sessions with myself. I don't use them for clients, but they are so profound.
They are. And
do you
they
have any
poke you right in the gut too. Sorry.
Do you guys have any runes you can share that you maybe have, or some like of your
I do, but I would have to go over and grab them.
So if you don't have to, if you don't want to, but I'm just saying, like, if you have.
I made a couple pieces, if you can see that.
Oh, I love it.
So it's the rune, I think, for love, encased in some resin with rose petals. And then I have this like clear.
That's so lovely.
And then I've got this like rose quartz with like some glitter and red carnelian in there.
That like makes me want to cry, and I don't know why.
Oh my God, they were so fun. And then there's a local bone artist. I am trying to remember their name, but we'll put it in the description for the people that are listening.
Her on Instagram. I think I know exactly who you're talking about.
But they made me such beautiful Greek goddess and gods bone work. So this is the one from Medusa. Wow. And Medusa.
I love it.
They're just so beautiful. So you get all these different flavors, all these different personalities that you can bring into your session, right?
And
it's just so honest. So I mean, I could talk forever about bones, right?
Yes.
But yeah, I got certified from my teacher. She's down in Atlanta. Her name's Atlanta Moonfire. Stunning witch, love her. But yeah, I took a virtual course with her, and then I just kind of started from there. But it's so interesting how you'll pick up a tool and you'll feel like, oh my God, I've known you for millennia. You know what I mean?
Yep. It does. It feels like it's coming. Like it feels like coming home. It feels like it's very it's a very profound, very powerful feeling that I don't like. And like, look, I love tarot. I love using tarot. It is probably one of the easier forms of divination for me. But there is something to be said when you're working with elements that are from around you, like that, like from things that, like, yes, like from beings that have passed on, you know, like that animal gave you its essence in order for you to that's just something that's like so profound and so beautiful to me.
It's something so like arcane about it, about a practice that predates, written history. That's so fucking cool.
Yes. And like going and like, because that's another thing that I want to do with my divination course, that I would love to be able to give people different resources on where you can find your bones.
Yes.
And like going and just foraging for them and like thanking the earth and thanking the animal that like you happen to find, you know, because like that's happened for me where like I'm just like, oh, thank you, little mouse. Like, you
I
know?
know.
And it's so like you're like, I appreciate you. Like, I'm so sorry that you died, but thanks for your bones. Like,
And listen, not for nothing, we're in perfect season 2 for anybody who likes to like forage and explore. This is a great season. All the leaves have blown
Yes.
away, so any of like the bones that are remaining have probably been bleached by now, and they're probably
Yes.
just sitting right on top of the grass.
Yeah.
So just for all of my
Exactly.
fellow gorgeous
And
people
just
who hunt for
exactly.
bones.
And like also side note to that, please, 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 if you do actually find an animal that's not completely like decomposed, make sure you're handling with care and you're cleaning
yeah.
properly because gross.
I don't get into any of that. Thankfully, I have connections to people who will do
Like,
all of that for me.
let nature take its course and take care of it completely. Like there are plenty, like you go for a hike in the woods,
Yeah.
you're gonna come across something.
And also, you don't need to go hunt down, a buck, in the middle of the mountains
No,
for
oh
either.
God, no. Like we're talking squirrels here. Like that's not like.
I mean, I know people who practice and literally just use like chicken bones, like chicken wing bones.
Yep. I
And
have a
that's
whole
so
set
valid.
that's, I have because I love them. A turkey spinal column.
Yes.
Just all of that. Yeah, it's like in there. It just looks fantastic. I love it.
Mhm.
Makes me happy.
So let's move
Sorry.
on to no. I love that you both are fascinated with this.
We're
and
just
I
nerding
definitely-
out.
I think we should definitely have another just a bone reading episode, but I definitely want to hit on more of what for her course.
Yes.
I know that you're teaching on the pendulum, which I mean, and
Yes.
I think the other thing I want to say about your course is that you don't have to be a witch necessarily to take
No.
your course because you offer a lot of different type of divination tools.
Yes.
Like with the pendulum, I mean, I just took a dowsing class, and with the pendulum, and you learn how to clear spirits and look for objects and
Mhm.
look for water. Like I just think that's so cool that you're offering that as well with the pendulum.
I'm very excited about all that stuff just because like not everybody wants to work with bones. Like some people like it scares them and that's okay. And that's
well,
why
I mean,
offer...
scrying with a mirror, like I've done that, but that's a little scary. Like
it is.
like
You're literally
you're
looking into the void. It is because you're looking into the void and you're asking for something to look back.
I just don't want Bloody Mary to hop out. Let's be honest.
You
like
won't.
that's
You won't.
I know, but that's like my big
so...
like, oh my God. Well, like more and more about what a scaredy cat I am. I know.
You just look into the void and it's my sweaty silhouette.
He's shaking his fan. He's like, "You'll be okay, Rachel." Suck it up, Buttercup.
You're gonna be fine, sweetheart.
Sylvia Brown, are you there?
Everything is gonna be great.
You're doing good, gorgeous.
But yeah, I love that you're doing so many different practices in your workshop because like I just remember early on in my career when I was so interested in just learning everything that I could. And I mean, divination's it's like it's divination, I feel like arguably is like a technique that like once you get like your hand around that, you can really pick up a lot lot of tools and like navigate your way through
anything.
Well, let's talk about you teaching. You're also doing tea leaves. Like tea leaves is fascinating. Like I have, I mean, I've always I've seen that like when people read the grounds or the tea leaves, I don't know how to do it, but it's fascinating that you're going to teach that.
Yeah.
Well, it's stuff like that is just, it's so much fun and it's so vastly up for interpretation. But like, that's why like, we are going to talk about like using your intuition and all that stuff.
Yeah, of course.
I do recommend that people like, if you want to take the class, like if you just want to learn, cool. If you just want to learn all about it, awesome. But like if you want to actually really learn how to read properly, I recommend having some form of your intuition kind of heightened a little bit.
Of course.
You don't have to be 100%. You don't have to be great. Like I don't give a crap. But like just have that level where like maybe you've already been reading tarot for a little bit. You've been using your pendulum. You've been, you might be like, because I always ask people like, like, do you ever, like, you're ever sitting around a campfire and you get like, you start staring at the flame and you're just engulfed in that, like, people are just kind of like, hello, are you there? And because you're so engulfed in that. And I'm like, you're technically scrying.
Yeah.
And like your mind wanders to different things. And they're like, oh, really? I have the weirdest things. I'm like, yeah, well, there you go. Like, it might be spirit trying to communicate with you because you're in that zone.
Yeah. So with
anyway.
that, some other things you're teaching is psychometry. And what exactly is that?
Yes. So this was actually heavily requested by some people that are in my Witchcraft 101 course. So basically, that is when you are using an item from someone, typically somebody that has passed away, to gain, to either talk to them, talk to spirit in some way, to gain that knowledge, hence the divination thing. But like, so like using like somebody, so like oftentimes when you hear, you know, psychic mediums will be like, bring an item of that person's, yes, so that they can better connect with that spirit. That's essentially what that is. And that is, it's something that is very, another thing that is also very beautiful and profound, because you're using something that somebody left behind in order to connect with them.
Yeah.
And like, this is even like, you know, there are things that, you know, like you even think of like something mysterious where like somebody from the 1800s left the locket and you can like it's so fascinating. And it's one of those interesting things where connecting is on just kind of another level.
Yeah.
When it comes to that. So like oftentimes like in like items like literally could be anything that was close to that person. It could be a necklace. Usually a lot of people usually choose jewelry because you're wearing it often, that type of thing. It could be clothing. It could be a toy. It could be, you know, anything really that person really held near and dear to them. And then communicating with them through that.
You know what psychometry reminds me of is almost like trance mediumship. It's like when you get in with the spirit and you kind of pull them in with the object. I do that is interesting to do. I like that. That's cool that you're teaching that. You're Jake's like, yeah.
I love it.
And you're also doing aura reading. So you're teaching people how to read auras, which I find that fascinating. I can feel auras, but I don't see them.
Ever since I was a little kid, I was always able to see auras, and
I love that.
And not like I never understood what it was until like I did research. I was like, oh, that's what that is. And I do a very simple way of being able to teach it with people. I'm not going to go into it here, but
no, because you got to sign up for a class. Reiki Rocks coming up. 10-week class. Come on now.
Exactly. Is it a foolproof thing? No, but it is definitely a way that 9 times out of 10, I would say 10 out of 10. Usually I'm pretty spot on with that.
100% of the time.
All the time. But like, it also keep in mind too, like auras change for people.
100%. Thank you. Good point.
Yeah. So like, don't ever think that like, if you say that you're decent at reading auras and something, and then like you read somebody and they have a green aura, and then the next day they're looking a little yellow, and you're like, wait, what? It happens. Like, as people admit different energies. That's what it is. You're reading your energy.
And you could be going through a difficult time, or maybe you're going through a healing, or you're having heartbreak, or you're having increased love. Like,
absolutely.
That's
because I usually tell people, like, when I try to teach them how to do it, like a little snippet, I have them try to read me. And usually, and I'll have a little color chart with me and all that stuff. And I love doing this because I've gotten a little bit better at it. Usually when people read me, they have there's a purple, indigo, because they always get the whole mediumship, all that crap, witchcrafty, blah, blah, blah. But then I'll try to alter my mood so that they can see the color shift.
Nice. And
it's one of those, again, so fascinating. Divination is insane. I love it so much. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say one other thing too, because I know there's a whole list of things.
I've got her snippet up in case you're wondering what I'm doing. I'm just referring to her class list. That's what I'm doing. I'm what's osteom? And I'm like, and what is lithomancy? But go ahead.
Stuff like that's well, like the osteo is the bone.
Yeah.
The litho is the stones.
Nice.
So like what we like
Those
crystal
are like
readings and stuff like
fancy
that.
like terms. Like
It's well, I figured,
Osteo,
I'm like,
you'll
I'm
be
gonna
reading
put it
my
up there.
arthritic knees.
Osteoarthritis. That's when you're reading my bones.
It's where you're gonna tell the future by how my knees crack when I walk down the stairs.
You're welcome.
What are those? Okay, I don't think you're fanning yourself. Is that the thing you have in your hand, Michelle? Is that something you want to show to us, or is that a fan? She's just melting.
It's just
okay,
a fan.
She's
This
just
is from a
melting.
notebook.
I thought she was like, "Hey guys, I want to show you this."
Oh no. This
Nope,
is
just fighting
like,
for our lives.
Right. I know. Just fighting over here.
So I do want to say for her class, it is what date does it start?
So it starts on July 30th. It is a Sunday.
Okay.
These classes are going to run. Usually, my classes run about 2 hours.
Okay.
This particular class is going to be about 3 hours because we have a
Okay.
little bit more time on Sundays. It's earlier in the day. People
Yeah.
usually, there will be some flexibility in time if anybody's
Sure.
worried. The classes will be from 12 to 3 typically.
Yeah.
So if there is an issue, just because we do have that Sunday, and the people that are already involved in it, most of them I've already had in class before. So they're pretty good with fixing, if we have to start an hour early or start an hour later or something like that, we can do that. But
And
I do
then-
also,
go
go ahead, sorry.
No, you
I was
go
gonna say,
ahead.
like, I wanted to preface too, just
Jake's
because I
laughing
know,
at us. Could you stop laughing at us? Stop
No,
it.
you go ahead.
No, you girl. No,
you.
you.
I love it. We're polite, Jake.
Yeah, Jake, we're not bitches, okay?
God.
Listen, someone's got to be.
Excuse me. So, I will preface that we will be going over Ouija boards, and I will be bringing one in because people get very like out of sorts about it, and I'm like, it's literally just another form of divination. You just gotta put up your protections. You gotta make sure you're doing everything properly. And there is a whole list of things that I tell people that they need to do for Ouija boards that they're like, oh God, you have to do all that. Like, yes. Like, do you want a portal?
If you open a portal, please call Rachel and she can close it because she learned that in her dowsing class.
I love it. Good.
Divination Tools.
Divination Tools. Okay. So if anyone wants to sign up for your class that is starting at when is it starting? July what?
July 30th.
July 30th. If anyone wants to sign up, you got to get in touch with Tony Craft at Reiki Rocks.
Well, no, just message me.
Or message Michelle on Facebook is probably the best.
You can either go through my Bad Omen page, or you can find me right at my private page, Michelle Margiata. Either or, you can message me.
Okay. And then it is $500 for the class, and you require a $100 deposit. Is that correct?
Yes.
And is it 10 consecutive weeks, or is there
10 consecutive weeks? Okay. Yes.
And what is your quick elevator pitch for anyone that should take this class? Do it now.
Don't put me on the spot or anything.
Do it now.
Take the course, man. No, it's really honestly like I try to make things fun. I try to make things accessible, because that is the whole point as to why I started these classes, because I wanted to create a community of like-minded people that wanted to learn these things. And I wanted to give them a safe space to where they can learn them and not feel like like they're stupid for asking questions, or that they're like, because there's so much gatekeeping when it comes to witchcraft, when it comes to this whole world,
when it comes to divination. It's not even just witchcraft.
Yes, exactly. Like, it's just when it comes to all the spirituality, all that stuff, where a lot of people like to hold on to that knowledge because it is for, at least for me, what it feels like, people just want to feel special, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I do feel like that there is, at least the way I feel, that like there is a calling for me to put that out for people, where like you should learn this stuff, that it's not scary, and that it is a very beautiful, profound way of life. And it doesn't even have to be a way of life. It can just be like, if you just want to learn how to read runes, then come and learn how to read runes. And I'll probably say fuck a lot, and there'll be a lot of jokes being said, and we have a good time in my classes. And I want it to always be an inclusive environment where you learn something and you leave confident. That's the other huge thing.
So I
Like,
think the
confident
other
in what we're
thing,
doing.
yeah, the other thing is for your divination course, it's really an
Yes.
introduction to different kinds of tools that can help you to look at the future, look at, you know, worldly things, and it's a good
Mhm.
introduction of things that you can put in your toolbox.
Absolutely, definitely. And there will be like sort of master classes after the divination course
Nice.
where they'll happen bi-monthly, to where so like 1 month will really focus on scrying. Those will be optional. So like, just because
Yeah.
you take the divination course, like take the divination course first.
It's
otherwise you
almost
won't be able
like
to come in.
it's like this is like a, even though they're long in-depth classes, this is a starter, and then you're gonna have
Yes.
master classes to build
Like,
on.
so master class is basically what like, even when I
It's an
say that,
appetizer, and then she's gonna have a full course.
yes, like we're
Yes.
gonna be learning actually like even more hands-on
Yeah.
practicing on a regular basis with someone like me
Nice.
that knows what they're doing, that can answer questions and guide you through it and protect you while everything's happening.
The name of the Celtic runes are Olgath.
Thank you. Oh,
I texted Melissa. I knew she would know. I was like,
I was just like,
I know somebody who will know. Jake, anything you want to add for divination before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I was just like thinking this whole time that I'm like so glad to see, Michelle, like your classes like this. This is a resource that I would have really killed to have, you know,
Yeah.
way back in my day.
Back in my day, when I was 4 years old.
Yes, I mean, because I've said it a couple times on the podcast that like I had to teach myself literally everything. Like, and listen, trying to teach yourself how to tell the future alone is a little difficult, as you
Yeah.
can imagine.
Scary too.
And there's just so many books, there's so many like videos that you can find, and you know, I can't tell you how much money I wasted on resources that like really didn't pan to anything for me. So I just love that there's real community classes that people can come and see. And especially because divination is just such a juicy subject to get into, you know. I promise you, like, you will be hook, line, and sink on one of these, if not multiple. You know, and it really does all go hand in hand, especially for people who are looking to go down this kind of path, maybe in your professional work or even in your private spiritual work. All of these modalities really intersect with each other. You know, psychometry, you know, is such a crossroads with energy healing, even, you know, tarot, bone reading, all of this stuff really do open you up to find these other gifts within yourself. And it really just, they're such door openers, right? So I always love to hear when people are getting into divination or are really interested in following that path a little bit deeper. So I am just really happy. The little 13-year-old me is just really giddy with joy that these kind of things exist in our immediate, you know, community. So I really love that.
Absolutely. Well, we recommend everyone reach out to Michelle, sign up for this divination course.
Yes.
And on that note, everybody have a great day. Bye.
Bye.